This is the Deseret News National Edition, when your family needs to know more.
Good morning and welcome to the Deseret News National Edition. I'm Dave McCann. Public opinion guru Frank Luntz is best known for developing messages for various Republican causes, including Newt Gingrich's Contract with America, if you remember that. This morning, Luntz sits down with Deseret News editor Paul Edwards to discuss issues most important to families.
Well, Dr. Frank Luntz, it's great to have you here with us today. You wrote a book back in 2009 about what Americans really want. And I guess my question today is, we're 6 years beyond that. What do Americans really want today? What are their hopes? What are their fears?
Well, they're disappointed because what they really wanted in 2009 is not what they have in 2015. They feel even more economically stressed. They don't have faith that the politicians listen to them. They don't believe that the business community has their best interests at heart. They are frustrated with the media that they see as being inaccurate or biased. They believe that entertainment makes it harder for them to raise their kids. So basically, they're not happy or satisfied with all that much out there, which is why you see all that anger, all that cynicism, all that sense that America's best days may have been behind us, and that what we have coming up is pretty scary.
So with this lack of faith in core institutions, where should Americans be putting their faith based on what your polling suggests?
Well, it's funny because just maybe they should be putting their faith in faith. But there have been issues there as well. Religious leaders who've done things that they should not have done and behaved in ways that are not ascribed to in their teachings. I think all institutions are under attack because the leadership hasn't delivered what the public expected. There's a danger when you put expectations up here and you deliver here. This is the anxiety, and this is the frustration. And the closer you are to home, the more likely you are to believe in it. We believe in local government more than state or federal government. We believe in our local schools more than we do in public education in America. We believe in our local institutions. We believe in our local churches more than we do in religion overall. And so I think the solutions have to start in the community and in the neighborhood. By the way, let's get even closer. They have to start in the family, because we all know if you have a broken family, nothing else works.
Well, let's talk about the family for just a moment, because again, in the 2009 book, my recollection is that a loving family was one of the main things that Americans really, really wanted.
It was the main. It was number one.
Okay.
It mattered more than wealth. It mattered more than house. It mattered more than job. It mattered more than everything. And I want to actually share with you, because this is new research based on an old finding, which is that the most powerful ad we've ever tested, and we've now tested over 10,000 corporate ads, political ads, public announcement ads. The most powerful of all is a Google ad, and it runs about 90 seconds long, which is rare. And it's all about a father's saving moments via Google, using all the different services that Google has to be able to communicate to his daughter who had just been born, and the ad goes through her first 5 years. And the ad ends with him saying, "I can't wait to be able to share these thoughts with you someday. Love, Dad." That ad wasn't just the best ad among men, it was the best ad among women. Because you ask women what they want more than anything else in life, it is a dedicated father for their children. What makes a woman most happy isn't even when her husband shows respect to her. It's when her husband shows love to their children. And that's a very different way of looking at family. And it's become so important because so often it doesn't happen.
And let's talk about that. So this is a strong desire among Americans to have a strong, loving family. And yet we see the family in a kind of free fall in terms of late formation of families, rapid dissolution of families. So are Americans hypocrites in their view towards family, or what can we do to revitalize based on what you're seeing out there?
And they're not hypocrites in their views, they're hypocrites in their behavior. The joke that I like to tell is that half of all marriages end in divorce, the other half end in death. So either way, it's not going to work out for you. The question is, where are your priorities? And that's the biggest issue of all. When you make a commitment to your spouse, it is supposed to be for life, and sometimes those don't work out. And in my research and what I've learned over time, that is still less important than the commitment you make when you bring a child into this world. That is a sacred bond that must be upheld above everything else. You entered willingly into that contract of marriage, both of you. But when you create a life, that is the deepest responsibility. And the problem is there are too many people who prioritize work over raising their children, even in intact families, that prioritize their own financial situation over their children, that are more interested in dining out at night than they are in buying a book so that their 6-year-old daughter, their 9-year-old son will read and do so effectively. The families that I love, and because of my age and where my friends are now, to watch these parents do everything they can to ensure that their kids get into the right schools. The sacrifices that they make often to take kids out of public school because they're not teaching them well and put them in private school. Middle-class families that are paying, in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. I appreciate that because that's where the priorities should be. I was so fortunate. I make fun of my mom and dad, particularly my mom, because she was just so prevalent in my life. My mother always taught me to ask questions. That's how I became a pollster. But you know what her answer? Mom, how far is the earth from the sun? Her response, how far do you think it is? That's not helpful. I used to think of my mom as like a living, breathing Google before there was a Google. It turns out that she was just answering questions with questions, which drove me crazy. We got to get our priorities in order. And without getting them in order, then nothing that Washington does is going to work.
Interesting perspective, Frank Luntz.